Hi, I'm Steve, and welcome to Steve's Spots, where I visit those maybe not so well-known places you may not find in a normal tourist guide. Today I'm at the Lexington County Museum here in Lexington, South Carolina. This museum is somewhat unique in that what they've done is taken about 30 buildings that were built in Lexington County in the 17 and 1800s and brought them to this location. This allows a visitor to go through the buildings on their own or to take a tour led by one of the volunteers here at the museum to see how people lived back in those days. As I mentioned, the museum is home to about 30 buildings, one of which was owned by an individual who wrote, "Gimme That Old Time Religion." Now, the house we're looking at right here is called the Lawrence Corley Log House. It was built around 1771, and it's about the size of a living room in today's houses. In 1790, a census was taken, and at that time, 8 whites and 1 slave lived in this house, which indicated that the Corley family was a middle-class family. This is the Oak Grove Schoolhouse. This was built about 1815, and at the time, it had about 15 to 25 students that were taught in it each year, both boys and girls. This small building was built around 1790. In 1820, a doctor by the name of Thomas Simmons bought it and used it as his office. After the Civil War, his widow became postmistress for the town of Lexington, and she, along with her daughter, who became postmistress in 1869, used this building as the town's post office until 1894. This building was built around 1820 and became a Lutheran seminary. Later, they added on to it and made it the home for the new seminary professor, Dr. Ernest Hazelius, who served from 1834 to his retirement in 1851. This is called the John Fox House. It was built in 1832 in this exact spot and is the first building listed in the National Register of Historic Places in Lexington County. In 1843, it was bought by John Fox, a prominent farmer who served as a justice of the peace, sheriff, state representative, and state senator. As you can see, there are several outbuildings to the John Fox House. And we'll talk about a few of those as we go on. They give you a real good idea of what it was like to live in Lexington County back in the 1800s as a prominent farmer. Back in the 1800s and early 1900s and so on, people grew and raised a lot of their own food. Here we see a set of beehives that the John Fox House used to make their own honey. Over here is something rather unique. This was built in 1857. It's an octagonal pigeon house where they kept hundreds of pigeons. They raised them, breeded them, and also used them for food. In the 1700s, 1800s, and even into the early 1900s, a lot of houses, primarily in the South, had a kitchen that was separated from the rest of the living quarters. This is due to 2 primary reasons. One was the fire hazard that was possible from the kitchen, and the other was the heat caused by the kitchen. Keeping it in a separate building kept the living quarters safer and cooler. This is the outside kitchen for the John Fox House, along with the herb garden where they grew their own herbs. And right next to it is the summer oven that they used. Obviously, I couldn't show you every building here on the museum, but I hope this gave you an idea of what you can see when you get here. They do have a building here with innumerable artifacts from the same time frame as all of these buildings. The museum is open from Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 4 and on Sundays from 1 to 4. So bring your whole family. I'm sure you will enjoy it. This is Steve, and I'll see you next time on Steve's Spots.